Thanks, Jared. And thank all of you for joining us this week. Thought I'd take a little survey. How many of you are here at your very first SharePoint conference? Good, good. I think, as Jared talked about, you're in for a special treat. This is an amazing community, and we're really excited and hope you'll come for many more SharePoint events going forward. How many of you were here last year at the last SharePoint conference? Awesome. You might remember, I wrote a check. We didn't talk much about the next release of SharePoint at that event, and I wrote a check that this event would be the biggest and best release of SharePoint we'd ever done, and the biggest and best SharePoint conference we've ever had. And I think at the end of the week, you'll probably give us good marks, but we're certainly eager for your feedback along the way. I am really, really fired up. The team is really, really fired up. They've been working, obviously, as Jared said, for quite a long time on the new release of SharePoint. But just in the last month or so, it's been really fun to see folks scurrying on the hands-on the labs and their demos and their slides. They are really, I can't tell you how much pride they have when they get to take the product and come here and talk to you about it, hear what you're doing with it, get your feedback, get your reaction. So we are really, really fired up to be here this week, and thank you for taking your time to join us. As Jared said, this is a pretty big milestone for us. You know, we've done the SharePoint business for quite a while, but about 2.5 years ago, we did something that's very hard to do in the technology industry, which is split an engineering team on two parallel tracks. We had about half the team working on enabling the underlying infrastructure at SharePoint to work in the cloud. Our goal was very simple, to build the largest scale enterprise cloud service in the industry, to be able to take the billion Office users and be able to run the full back-end services in the cloud with Office 365. So a lot of work went on, from provisioning to telemetry to disaster recovery, building out data centers, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars investment. And 18 months ago, we shipped the first version of Office 365, including SharePoint Online, and have been updating that regularly ever since and meeting our SLAs. And we've really, really enjoyed the feedback from customers on Office 365. So that was one part of the team. The other part of the team, we said, let's not do a minor dot release of SharePoint. Let's do the biggest and best release of SharePoint we've ever done, whether it's social networking or enterprise search or content management, and really at the core, improving the underlying user experience and development platform of SharePoint so we could take the ecosystem to the next level. So we are really excited and maybe a little bit relieved, to be honest, to be at this day where we've got Office 365 up and running. We've shipped the 2013 server. We're in the process of updating our data centers around the world over the next few months to the new build. And we're really, really excited about that transition point, because now we're going to be updating the cloud much more frequently. We've laid the underlying infrastructure to run the engineering work at the scale with enterprise availability, and you'll see a lot more iteration from us over the next coming quarters and years from us. As Jared talked about, there's a lot to this release, and to be honest, I think about 3 weeks ago when we were looking at the agenda, we put about 6 hours of content in the keynote, and we were all just going to talk 3 times as fast. And I thought that was a bad plan. So fortunately, we've got a lot of sessions to cover the depth of the product. We are going to talk about the 3 pillars, as Jared said. The user experience work we've done across the web, mobile devices, and the rich Office clients, designed to making it easier to work and collaborate than it's ever been. That's the first pillar. The second is the innovative capabilities, from BI to search to content management, that helps organizations get work done at lower cost inside and outside their organization. And the third pillar being the new application model that's going to take the SharePoint ecosystem, that is already the largest ecosystem in the industry around collaborative applications, and take it to the next level. So rather than going through a bunch of slides, I am so excited. I think I mentioned last year that we had 4 times the number of people working on the user experience for the next release of SharePoint than we did the last release. I didn't show you a preview of that last year. I wanted to. It wasn't quite far enough along. I am really excited about the new user experience. I've been using it every day for months. So let me start by showing it to you personally. We'll bring up a preview of the Office 365 release. The things I'm going to show you are in the context of Office 365. Pretty much everything you can see here, though, will be something you can run in your own data center if you want. And we very much focused on streamlining the user experience across web, Office, mobile devices for the entire Office suite, the applications, Exchange, SharePoint, Link. So you can see a really nice, clean UI. I'm logged in. I've got access to my mail and documents just as you'd expect. And right here, I'm going to go quickly through some of the Outlook web app capabilities just so you see the consistency with the new SharePoint. I've got this in line, and I'm going to filter very quickly. I'm going to see my unread messages. That looks great. Maybe I'm going to reply. I'm going to reply right in line without refreshing the page. That's pretty slick. I'm going to go to my calendar. I see the appointments I've got for today. I'm going to refresh to the work week. That point paints. This is all in the browser, no ActiveX code. This runs on any modern web browser platform on any device. And I can switch back and forth, and you see the nice animations. I've got a People tab that takes people from my contacts, from Active Directory, connects information from Link, so I can IM or have a voice conference with somebody, brings in my information from SharePoint, so I can get the user's profiles and their activity feeds, get more about them. So really streamlined across the Office suite, bringing mail and documents and sites together in a consistent experience. Now let me dive a little bit more deeply into the SharePoint modules, and I'm going to go through really three phases. One is talking about documents, the second is talking about sites, and the third is talking about social conversations. So let's first switch into documents. Many of you are familiar with our My Site feature we've had for years in SharePoint. This idea of a personal page that has personal storage where you can share out documents with people. We thought that it would be really a great way to reflect the new work and the new UI, to evolve the brand of that, to be aligned with Microsoft's personal cloud storage service, SkyDrive. So we're calling the personal document feature of SharePoint that's available in the server or the service SkyDrive Pro. And so you can see here I've got my documents. I've got a bunch of them, a bunch of folders here. In addition, these are my documents stored for me. I can also follow documents across any SharePoint site. So if you're like me and work in a big company with 90,000 plus people and tens of thousands of sites, I'm following stuff left and right, and I don't want to remember the URLs or favorites. And again, in a modern world, I'm using multiple devices and browsers, and I want those docs I'm following to be with me anywhere. And so here they are in the left part of the page. I've also got documents that have been recommended to me by that new fast search technology we've integrated across SharePoint and Exchange. So that's documents I'm following. The other thing we show in the UI is recent documents. This is the list of documents I've opened, edited, read, pretty much anywhere I go. This roams through the cloud. This connects to the new Office. And so sort of the analogy I use is this turns Office into a Kindle or Netflix-like experience. I get a new device, connect it in, open it up, go to Office 365, and it remembers not only the docs I've read, but if I open it up, it'll even know what slide I'm in on PowerPoint and bring me right to that slide, just like a consumer experience in Kindle or Netflix. The next thing I thought I'd show is some of the things we've done to really address the feedback about simplicity in SharePoint. People have asked us for a while, hey, I've got all these documents, I can't find the one I wrote, and who's got access to that document in the first place? So I could go to a search page and do a search, but we really simplified and streamlined this. So if I'm going to search right in line for a document about Contoso, hit enter, and if I could type, there we go. I'll filter out the list of documents, not only that have Contoso in the title, but have Contoso in the body, regardless of where they are in that folder hierarchy. I don't have to think about folders or subfolders. This is the list right there. So these are the 5 or 6 documents about Contoso. That's great. Now I can find things that I've worked on. The next thing people have asked us for is, hey, I shared this thing, but who's got rights to this document? I don't remember. And I go into this site settings page, and it's a little bit scary, and I don't want to go back there. My IT folks like that page, but so we really tried to make figuring out who you're sharing stuff with quite simple this round. You can see we have a bunch of things that are not shared with anybody. They have a lock. That's pretty straightforward. This document is shared with some people. If I click on it, I'll get a preview, and I can see Mikhail and Katie have access to it in addition to me. So it's another thing we've done across the SharePoint user and experience is instead of bringing up new pages and switching you away, really right in line you can get access to the information you need. Last thing I thought I'd show around documents is the work we've done to make it easier to create a new document. Across the Office suite, we save to the cloud by default, so hitting New within Word or PowerPoint can save you right to SharePoint on-premises or in Office 365. We also allow you to make a new document right within the browser, so if you don't have a copy of Office on this machine, it'll bring up the web app and create a document right in the SharePoint site. That's pretty cool. But one we've been asked for quite a long time is drag and drop, and doing it in a way without requiring ActiveX control, so it'll work, again, on any modern browser. So I'm going to take this document, drag and drop it to the site. It will upload it, and you can see right there, it's modified a few seconds ago, that document's up on the site. All right, for the folks back in Redmond, whoever had drag and drop in the pool is getting the first big applause. You win. I don't know how much the pool was, but we do that. Anyway, this is the new hover panel. I've clicked on this document to get more. You see a preview of that document. Yep, that looks about what I wanted it to look like. So far, it hasn't been shared with anybody. Let's go do some sharing. That's another thing we focused on. I'm going to share it with somebody inside my organization and outside my organization. So let me type Olaf, and sure enough, it auto-completes. All this is live against the back end in Office 365. It knows Olaf is there. I'm going to share it outside my organization with a guy at test.com. Trust me, it's a real person. I was going to do my own Hotmail account, and I figured that would be a bad idea. I might get a few emails today. So anyway, and the neat thing about this, obviously you can turn off the external sharing. We hope for a lot of sites for communicating with customers and partners, you leave it on. We can require sign-in, or if we turn it off, we'll send an anonymized URL to somebody, and so they don't even have to access, they'll create an account and log on. They'll be able to read the document with really very little friction. Last thing we'll show in the context of the document piece is how we've made synchronizing really easy. You can see last release we had the ribbon, a lot of commands showing up by default. This release, right now in this document library, we've got only one, which is sync. To sync this document library, my personal SkyDrive Pro offline. I've already set that up, so let me bring that up in the browser. And you can see bring that up in the Explorer. You can see my personal SkyDrive down here. That's my consumer stuff. My work stuff shows up as SkyDrive at Contoso. That's how we show SkyDrive Pro in the user experience. And you can see access to all the documents there, including this administrator guide that I just uploaded. They synchronize wherever I go and across multiple devices with the new SkyDrive Pro. If you've been paying attention to our betas and so forth, you've seen this.